Casual Talk Radio's Coffee Taste Review, back with another coffee that we're going to review. I've got quite a few on deck to do coverage on, and I figured I want to get this one out of the way because I already have bad feelings about it. You may or may not have, if you were looking, saw some article or something talking about this particular coffee and its alleged health benefits. I'm not going to validate, because I can't, its health benefits. I'm simply talking about the coffee and the things claimed about said coffee and the proposed benefits to you from a health perspective. The coffee is, I believe it's pronounced DAYES, and it stands for Daily Yes. It says it's enzyme fermented, low caffeine, low acid, gentle on stomach, mold free. It's a medium dark roast, so think like a Costa Rica if you're familiar with the coffees. This specific one is a whole bean coffee. Their site is DAYEScoffee.com if you want to go read a little bit more into the whole enzyme fermented piece. Comes from Ethiopia. Notes of dark chocolate, butterscotch, and nutty. There's not, notes of nutty is not really a thing, but I'm going to let them slide on that. It's fine. I really do not like the way the beans smell. I do not like the way the grounds smell. The reason this came to my attention is because of the alleged health benefits around fermented coffee. In order to explain that a little bit better, we need to talk about some of the trigger factors of coffee. And this will be a slightly longer episode because I think it's important. Some people might care about this here. So for those that don't know, if you have or struggle with acid reflux disease, GERD, upset stomach, if you have sensitive stomach, if you have where, you can't drink coffee without eating food with it or something, it's obvious, or people are sensitive to caffeine. There's a couple of things to think about with coffees, and I've called out some of these in traits, but acidity of coffee. And I talk about, okay, doesn't feel acidic. It doesn't feel like, it just has a texture that's like, eh. Acidity is a real thing with coffee, and it's partially balanced out by the pH of your water. So if your water is not a good pH, your coffee is going to taste disgusting naturally. That's because coffee itself has an acidity, and you're trying to balance. You're supposed to balance your pH levels, and you want to target a pH that's at least 9.5 or greater. So if you have garbage water, this is why I don't do tap water myself. If you have garbage water, your coffee will taste like garbage. The acidity is a large part of the reason why that's the case. The reason caffeine is not desirable as you get older, there's two parts. One, as you age, your stomach acid gets less effective. It's not able to do as good of a job as it could do when you were younger. The other thing with caffeine is that it relaxes your esophageal, right? And when that happens, the acid is allowed to come back up strongly. So people that drink heavy amounts of high caffeine, the darker roast I refer to, coffee, tend to end up with acid reflux easier, GERD. Over time, it damages, and you feel it even when you're not drinking coffee. And every now and then you'll just get this weird sensation. That's what's happening there. And it's indicative of excessive amounts of caffeine. So you'll hear people that are older that switch to decaf because of that situation. Then there's what's referred to as tannins. This is a trait of coffee, tannins, and they do increase stomach acid to counteract as you age. So there's a health benefit in one degree, but because of the fact that you're older and because of the caffeine's impact, the lining of your stomach gets irritated. This is what causes sometimes upset stomach and why people have to eat food with it. And then the oils that I talked about that beans are coated in, depending on the freshness of the beans. So you'll hear me say at times it tastes like it was sitting on a shelf or something. The freshness of those oils can go bad. People don't know that. They can go bad, and over roasting of beans, which I called out with Starbucks. When you over roast the beans, it actually is carcinogenic. toast, if you over toast your bread, it's actually carcinogenic. You don't want to over roast, over toast, over cook because it releases carcinogens. So it's actually harmful for you and it jacks up your stomach. So the problem is that decaf alone doesn't, it doesn't really fix the problem all the way around. B, you're losing some of the other benefits that natural coffee has because it's what the way they make it decaf is they replace with non-natural things to give that illusion. So then fermented comes along, and fermentation, the concept, everybody knows that, but the idea is for probiotics, and probiotics is for gut health, and the thought is making foods more digestible, making foods more gut friendly. So kombucha came out some time ago as some of this popular stuff. That's one of those that came as a result of this. Yogurt has always been a thing where you're looking for probiotics. You're looking for things that are designed to improve digestion, reduce irritation in your stomach. Fermentation's always been around for coffee, but it's not been at the forefront because the process of doing so in the past has relied on there's harm to animals as part of the process. Some of the process isn't as clean, so you'll hear things like mold, right? So there's criticism historically around the process. That's why you don't hear about it as much. DAYES claims that they've gotten to a process that gets the benefits of it without its strong negatives. Now, the flaw, in my opinion, is I'm still a taste type person with the coffee. If the coffee doesn't taste good, it's going to have the same irritants regardless of the caffeine, regardless of the oil, regardless of everything else. It's got to taste good. If it does not, I can't. So I did brew up a cup, and again, the beans smelled disgusting. The ground smelled disgusting. We're going to go ahead and taste it now that I've let it cool off a little bit. But I can already tell you what I'm going to be telling you. Ugh. So here's the funny story now with this. The first hit, so you're right when it hits your tongue, absolutely disgusting. There's a little bit of an aftertaste to it. It has a drying effect, like it dries out my tongue, which is strange. I've never had coffee do that. But you know what reminds me? It reminds me of Burger King's coffee. It straight up reminds me almost to a T of Burger King's absolutely rancid coffee. Now I know that Burger King is not using fermented coffees. So I know that that's not it. And chances are it's simply that they're using the same style of bean, possibly even same origin with a similar roast. And then the fermenting is just kind of deviating in terms of all the other stuff. So in terms of flavor, I find it absolutely disgusting. I don't know that creamer would help it. Sugar might, but I don't think creamer would help it. Maybe a sweet cream, but that's kind of a stretch. I just think it's absolutely deplorable as a coffee. But that's because I like flavor with the coffee. Now, as I get older, I might have to change gears and just simply adjust to it. So if you're an older person and you're sensitive to, acid reflux or those, perhaps consider it. I have no evidence that it works straight because it's not something where I can envision myself drinking it for the long term. This is one where I might drink it, once a week, if anything. And there's other coffees that I will be covering that I think would be better alternatives, including one that's not even a coffee, which is going to throw you a little bit, but I'm going to talk about it. But I don't know. It's hard to say. Again, if you're listening, you're probably a flavor person. That's what I think. The taste of this, it's almost identical to Burger King's coffee. Almost identical. You definitely want to have good water with this. If you have garbage water, it's going to taste even worse. I guarantee you that. I would not try to drink it straight hot. Like I would let it cool off a little bit because I think I would hurt the flavor a little bit. Again, I can't speak to the health benefits because you'd have to drink it for a long period of time over time, but I'll just share. They state that it's supposed to help you if you have, let's say gastrointestinal or digestive issues. Then consider something like this. This is DAYES coffee. I gave the information earlier in the show. Feel free to check it out. I'm not telling you not to. I'm saying from taste perspective, I find it absolutely disgusting. Perhaps it does have other benefits that outweigh the flavor. And if you're one that doesn't care about the flavor, maybe. If you're one that's on the grind and you need a strong coffee, this is not it. This is not it. There's no strength to the coffee. There's no buzz on purpose. There's no buzz. There's no nothing. It's nothing but coffee at its bare basic.